Well, I hope.
Pretty much. But anyway, but I also came to realize that Ascarni really knows her stuff. She's been top rated on TripAdvisor before. She tells me stories of some of the tours she gives, and the kinds of tour experiences that she gives are really kind of in a class by themselves. So when I was talking to Ascarni, I realized that she really understands the customer journey, and that's why asked her and invited her to share her knowledge today. So, Scarni, with that, I'm going to mute myself and stop my video and let you take it away.
Okay, thank you, Eric. All right, let's see if I can do this right. All right, hello everyone. Well, first I have to thank Eric for inviting me to be part of this speech, and also to the FoodTreX Global and the World Travel Food Association. Um, Basically, what I'm going to try to do in this hour or whatever time it's going to take, I'm going to try to explain a little bit who I am, where I come from, what actually, how I started my business, and how I actually end up doing my customer journey or map, right? How I treat the customer in order to be or try to be excellent in whatever we do with them. So first, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Esquerne Falcon from San Sebastian. I was born in San Sebastian. I grew up here most of my life. I've been living here. I went to America 5 years, so I got a degree in Binghamton, New York. And then I also know about the business of the tourism and the food because I used to own a small business, like a little boutique hotel in the town, a family hotel. And we ran it for 10 years. We were also #1 in TripAdvisor. And also I was the manager of 2 different associations for food and restaurants and bars and also shops, okay? So this is where I come from in a way. Work-wise, I was part of the team of the European Capital of Culture of 2016 in San Sebastian. So we actually won against 17 other cities in Spain. And that also helped me to understand better the city and, to be more part of it. And after that, because of the changes of the government and everything, I got out of my job and I decided to go to China to learn some Chinese. And that's when I actually also learned a little bit about the Chinese Asian cuisine. So with all this, I actually created a company called Discover San Sebastian. And basically I started in 2015, so it's a very young company. And after I started, I get my degree in a master's degree in gastronomical tourism. So I guess I know a little bit about what I do, and I pretty much know a little bit about my town. And that's why actually I started my business. And now after 4 years, this is my 3rd year now, I'm an honorary member of the Class of Door, like a concierge, part of the concierges in the world, and also #1 in TripAdvisor. And I just got the Culinary Tour Operator of the Year award this year. So this is what I achieved by myself at this point. And well, I will tell you now what is my goal in my company and what it takes me to this. Actually, with Discover San Sebastian, there are 3 things that I really get together. And they are the ones that are my passion, okay? One is the city, my city, San Sebastian. I love to be with people and I love gastronomy. So all this brings me to the next step, which is my main objective, which is to make our guests know the culture and the cuisine of the vast country at the hands of a local expert that will make them feel part of our culture and family. So that's what I really want to emphasize, family, because that's what I want in my tours. I want people to feel that I'm part of their family, and that's how I treat them, okay? So now we're going to enter a little bit. I'm going to tell you a little bit what San Sebastian is, what is related to gastronomy, in order to understand later where I am and what I do. So in San Sebastian is known by all the Michelin star restaurants. We have more Michelin than anywhere in the world per kilometer. So this is very famous in the world because of that. So we have 3 Michelin, 1 2 Michelin, 6 1 Michelin. So Michelin is all over. But see, San Sebastian is not just Michelin star restaurants. There's a lot of other things that we can actually know about in San Sebastian. And one is the pinchos. I do pincho tours every day. So pinchos is actually, for those who don't know, it's like a tapa, or what they call tapas in Spain, but it's all from the north and it's more developed. We actually have a lot more imagination involved into a pincho than into a tapa, okay? So there are many different areas in San Sebastian that they actually work with pinchos. So they're all the bars, most of the bars here have pinchos in their bar. So it's part of our culture. So we go with our friends to the bars and we go from bar to bar, getting a piece of a delicious food. Sometimes it's in the counter, sometimes we order just made. So this is something that is very traditional. So we go out with our friends and this is part of our lives. Now is one of the things that we do for a living, like with the tourism industry, because we do a lot of pincho tours and we try to integrate people into what we do, okay? Actually, I will go more extended to this because my customer journey experience is going to be based in the pincho tour mainly, okay? But you can see with the pictures that I also show you in my presentation that there are so many different ways of making pinchos. Some of them are very traditional, and as you can see, some of them are more modern, okay? So this will be one. The second part will be another thing that is very famous in this area is the gastronomical men's societies. I don't know if you heard about it, but there are clubs in San Sebastian that are private. And they started a long, long time ago in the late 1800s because women, this is a matriarchal society, so women didn't like men being around the house, bothering them. So men felt in a way that they needed a place to stay together, and they decided to get places, private places where they belong to, and they actually cook together. They enjoy life and they sing and have fun. And actually it was a good way. It was kind of like very nice for women because they were distracted, but they were also with men and enjoying life. So it was kind of a way of starting this whole thing. And it's a very traditional way for people from the Nosti to have to belong to a gastronomical society, even though it's very hard to get to be a member. Okay, so you have a long waiting list to belong to this, and if you are the son of somebody, you can, if your father lets you, or he actually passed away, you can actually go after. But it's really hard because if there is only one person in the society that is a member that doesn't allow you to, you're not in. So it's kind of like a privilege to belong to one of those, okay? Then, related to this, you also have to say that it's not a problem to be men only because women also go out for dinner and we don't tell the men to come when we are having a women dinner. So in a way, it's all respected, even though there is only one society now that I know in the old town that doesn't allow women still. Now they let women in, but they don't let them cook. So it's a pretty good situation for women also because we don't have to cook for once and we can just relax and enjoy. So I continue with this, going to the chacolis. So we have a lot of products in this area that they're just local products, okay? So we have the chacoli, which is a white wine, sparkling white wine from the area. As the nomination of origin of this area from a town mainly, it's called Chacoli de Guetaria. So Guetaria is the little village. And there are so many wineries and wine cellars that they actually are the third and the fourth generation working in the wine right now. But the producers are so small, so they don't produce a big quantity. So most of the chacoli that is produced is consumed in this area here. So the chacoli winemakers, they also actually do tours now. So it's also becoming a business to go to visit a winery and to do tastings and all these things. But then another one, the cider house. So we also have cider and we also have things that belong to the cider house. For those who don't know, San Sebastian in this area is known also for fishing. We used to have a very important, very strong men used to go whale hunting. So they used to whale hunt and going following the whales all the way to Canada. So the cider was the drink that actually kept them away from diseases because it had this vitamin C. So nowadays, this also became very famous, okay? So we have cider houses with big barrels like in the picture, with a set up menu that is a very traditional menu with a codfish omelette, fried fish, and then T-bone steak meat. And for dessert, we have queens, cheese, and nuts, so walnuts. So at the end is another tradition. So as you see, everything has to do in our lives with food and enjoying food. But it's very normal because we have to have a good food because we have the products from the mountains and the products from the sea. If you combine both and you see that we have the best products from both, it's very hard to make it wrong, okay? So, I think that it's very nice to come here and enjoy all these different things and different ways of eating. So after telling you all this, I will start talking to you about my customer journey map based in a pincho, okay? So I'm gonna tell you from the beginning, when I started my business, there was no way of getting customers just with a website, okay? So it was really hard to reach people. So I found a way of getting clients being in an hotel, working for free. And well, actually working for free, I got their customers, so it was not that free. But at the end, it worked out pretty well because the first year, it was the only year that I worked there in those hotels. And then after that, I just started getting customers from different sites. So one was the website, the other one was TripAdvisor because I got many reviews in the first year. And then it was the word of mouth, the travel agencies that I work with, the hotels, the best hotels actually in town, the social media that I got into because also I got some journalists doing my tours that talk about me, and then the tourism office, okay? Because I'm also a member of the tourism office, and that also helps in order to be, like people to know where you are. So from there, we have two ways of keeping going in the journey. One is to book a tour, and the other one is the ones who don't book the tour. And when they book a tour, it can be private or open tour. So when it's a private, that is just the group that they know each other, but the open tour is a very small group. I don't usually do more than 8 people unless it's obligation. I mean, so 8, I think, is the perfect size in order to be able to treat the customer in the right way. So the other part is the ones that they don't book, right? So there are so many reasons why they don't. One, it can be that I'm not available because at this moment, I'm alone in my company, even though that's going to change this year, I hope. The other thing is the price may be too high for them, but it's something that actually I really thought since the beginning. I knew how I want to do which one was my market and where I wanted to go. So I don't deal with those, low price because they want to do lower or whatever. So I maintain my prices like they are. They can also cancel the trip. So if they cancel the trip, it's not possible also to do the tour. And the other thing is that they choose another company, maybe because they convince them better, because the reviews that they read, they like it better. I mean, there are so many reasons also. So after the customer actually meets me and book me, I have the first contact with the guests of Discover San Sebastian, okay? So part B, meeting our guests. Basically, it's very important to introduce myself and to introduce a little bit the city. But also, I need to build the trust at that moment with the customer. So basically, what I try to do is ask them who they are, where they're from, how many days they're going to stay in the city. So that way, I know more or less, and they understand that I care about who they are, right? So after that, and building this little trust with them, I need to know and observe, especially, which ones are the needs that I can see when I'm with them. So for example, if I see, if it's an open tour, right? I have 8 people or 4 people, and 2 are a couple of very old people, like 80-year-old. And then I have a young couple that they don't know each other, they're 20s. So I have to read the situation very quickly. So I need to observe which are the needs of my customer at that point, okay? Why? Because I also need to see if I have to sit them more or I can go faster in one place or not. So this is very important. But also, that's the moment where I ask, because I try not to ask them before what allergies they have and everything. Even if they tell me, I don't mind, because I don't follow what they send me in the beginning. I can improvise. So that's what I like about my tour. So when I'm with them, I ask them which allergies they have and also their preferences, okay? So if it's a private tour, it's not difficult because I will go, with the person that has an allergy or a special need. But when it's open, it's a little bit harder. So I always ask, I always call, I baptize, I guess, my customer who is allergic or has special needs, like the weak one. I mean, it's not weak it's weak because I feel that I need to take care of them more, okay, like a little kid, all right? So basically, that person is going to be the main point for me to start the tour and to do the tour, because if that person is okay, I will be able to make okay everybody else. Okay, so the choices that I find for the allergics, for example, I need to know which allergies they have, so I can go to the bars and choose the bars that I know I can give them food that doesn't have those ingredients. Okay, so from there, and knowing the customer needs, I have to say that it's always my priority. I explain to them what I'm doing in the tour before the tour begins, because that's how they trust me after. So imagine that I plan that day, because I felt after I meet them that I'm gonna go to the first bar, and while I'm talking, I tell them that I will do a specific tour for them, especially because it's for them. So it will not be the same one as the one I'm gonna do at night. Then they need to know that, because if the bar is closed, it will be good that they know that I don't need to know that, because I'm thinking about their priorities, right? So they understand that, and they actually feel that I'm trustful at that point. So then after that, we start doing the tour. What I try to do is give them the best choices, like offer them the best choices from what I do in the tour. So for example, if I go to a bar, every person has a pincho and a drink, right? So I cannot give them all the same pincho, because they may not like the same pincho. So I always look for the best 2 or 3 offers at least that I can offer them, so they can pick each what they want. So I'm not forcing them to do what I want only. So I have to be flexible. And also, after I do that, I have to observe if they like the choice or not. So this is a lot about observation. You have to look constantly about, what their face is like when they're eating it. Ask them all the time, not all the time, but you have to ask them if they really like what they're eating or not. And if you see a face that is not really good when they bite it or they drink something, you have to react quickly. That's very important to give other options, okay? Getting less pay because you spend more money that day doesn't mean that you are losing anything, okay? Like 20 euros up, 20 euros down is not the important thing in this case. The important thing is the customer is satisfied. So this is very important. So react quickly, change the pinch or the drink that they don't like, and pay for something different, okay? Another thing that I do in my tour that probably is different from others is that I take a lot of pictures. Well, a lot. Sometimes I take more than others, but I take pictures because, and for free. I mean, I give them the pictures later, because I think it's good way of me to get an idea, if they ever write me back, who they are. If I see a face and I have something to write it down, it's easier for me to analyze what happened that day and who was the client and what happened. So, and for them, it's a good memory, because they will keep remembering what happened in my tour, because they have the picture. The reason why I do that and I don't charge for this is because I try to do what I like people to do for me when I'm doing a tour. So when I travel, in other parts of the world, I realize that I do a tour, I book the tour, any activity, and then they take pictures and they charge me the picture. So I think that I feel like, well, not rip off, but it's kind of like, it's just a picture. Why should I pay for it if I could have taken it with my camera? Sometimes they don't even let you take your camera. So I think it's a, added value to give them the opportunity of having that for free, okay? So, and it's part of the whole experience. In that case, sometimes there's people that say, oh, I don't want pictures, and it's okay, but at least ask them to have only one to remember them, okay? Just give them the value of how important they are for you. So that's what I try to do, and at least until now it worked. Then it comes the part that you actually pay to your, the customer has to pay you. There are ways that the payment can be done first before you do the tour, but sometimes they don't, so they do it at the end of the tour. So before all this happens, you have to make sure that you know who the people that you are with are. So that means sometimes they book by email. So the person who actually booked you by email, you know his name or her name, and you also know the email. But you don't know the other person that is with the friend or the wife or the husband. You don't know their name. And even if you learn the name in the tour, you may not remember when you go home. So what I usually do, I actually let them write. I tell them to write down the names because, as you know, my name is Esquerne and it's a very hard name to remember. So with that excuse, I just tell them, I don't want to misspell your name. I want to have your name, write it down. So if you don't mind, just please write it down, both names. And when I send you the email, it will be correctly, in the email. So with that excuse, I get all the contact information. Sometimes at the same time, I ask them for Facebook if they have it, or Instagram. I try to get the maximum connection with that person, because at the end is the person that is going to continue selling your tours if you actually do it right, okay? Then, again, trust is very important. So we continue with the trust in this point. So don't rush at the end of the tour. These people are like your family, and that's what you're selling, right? So if you're looking at the watch because it's time to go, it doesn't look very good. For me, it's very important that they know that if I am in a rush, it's because I have another tour, and it's always true. I never lie. Actually, I think they will if I lie. So what I try to do is say, not look at the watch. Try to stay with them. If it's half an hour more, it's half an hour more. Time is important for you, but it's also important for your customer, okay? So then it comes the payment part, which it can be kind of like weird, but that's where you actually emphasize that you are there for them while they stay in your town or whatever they are in the area. You can help them. Just tell them to email you, tell them to ask you for reservations. I mean, most of them, they don't, because once you send them the email, you will actually, they will actually have all the information that you already talk on the tour. So I actually, after that, I send them the same day. I write the information in an Excel about how the tour was, what happened. Like, for example, if it's a couple that has kids, I would say how many kids they have. If I know if they were the age of the kids, well, I write it down. If I know that the parents are sick, I write it down. I mean, there are a few things that I will remember about them in the tour. And it's important to, maybe it's not important at that moment, but it will be important in the future, because it will make the difference between me and other people, okay? So you have to actually give the importance as a human being to the human beings that you work with, okay? So send a personalized email with the details of the tour and pictures. I also keep the folders of the pictures with the names. So if they ever contact me, I will know who they are. So as I said that before. So even though it's the purpose of my, of taking pictures in my tour, it's also a value. So, keep that in mind. Keep in mind that they are people like you and that they want memories like you do, all right? So the possible result in the future is the TripAdvisor reviews. Those are the ones that actually put me in the beginning, up in the top. So being number one and beating the biggest companies in town has been a challenge, but it's just about work and doing your work as good as you can. And that also doesn't give you only TripAdvisor reviews, but also it gives you the word of mouth. Nowadays, after 4 years, this is my 5th year, I'm getting like from 10 emails that I get in my email, 8, they are from word of mouth of people or people who actually repeat my tour, which sometimes I tell them I don't get why you want to do the tour again if I already sent you the information, but they don't want to do it with nobody else. So that also adds a value to me. And well, as I said, and it puts here, repeats the same tour again. Just to let you know, I have a family from Australia that did my tour in the last 3 years. It did my same tour 3 times, the 3 times that they came to San Sebastian. So it's really, a privilege to be able to feel that they feel what I'm trying to project, which is I'm here for you, I'm your friend, I'm your family, and like, you will be surprised, but I get very many emails telling them how important I am in their lives. So only for 3 hours of a tour. So I think it's important to do things from the human perspective, okay? So I don't know if you have fun with my presentation. I just put some pictures here of all my tours and, the fun that we have sometimes in the market and the Pincho tour and everything, and friends even. But also, to be honest, make a bigger family through the experience is a very big thing to do. And I don't know if you see the picture in the mountain. Actually, it's me in the front. I have my real family. The first two people are my real family, but the rest are not. But what I try to actually project in this picture is that I'm trying to lead my tours as a member who actually everybody trusts and follows to go to climb the mountain. So this is my experience, and I hope you like my presentation. I don't know if I can answer questions, or Eric, if you're there to help me.
No, Scarney, you have to do it all yourself.
All right, there you go.
No, I'm kidding. Yes, please put any questions you have for Ascarni into the chat area, please. So one thing, I do have a question. One comment you made was 8 out of every 10 emails you get is a word of mouth.
Yep.
So is it fair to say then that the majority of your business now comes from word of mouth referral?
Yes. 100%.
And that is tremendous. I mean, I think, when you first start your business, people are thinking about, oh, I have to post on social media and I should probably do some advertising and, maybe I need to work with a tourism office. But now those things, it's almost like you get to the point where you've gotten your credibility, you've gotten
Right.
respect, you have your reputation, and once all of those things are in place, your business sells itself.
Definitely right. 100%. Actually, I think that the fact that I was in the two hotels in the beginning working for free helped me a lot, because I didn't actually got only the recognition of my clients and my customers, but also I got the recognition of the hotels that I was working at. And the managers of the hotels and the people who work in the hotels, they also talk about me to other hotels. And at the end, in a way, I also get a lot of word of mouth from hotel to hotel until I get onto the best ones. So it definitely did help, what the people say about me when they came back to the hotel, to my colleagues in the same hotel that I was staying. And again, I mean, if you go to an hotel after you did an experience with somebody and the people are hugging you and kissing you, and at the end, that's what they reflect to the people who are in the hotel, and they see it.
Yeah.
So that's not very common in a tour guide. And that's the difference. I think it's very important that you actually are human and that you actually are looking for their best, no matter, because trust me, we all are very difficult sometimes. And I have so many issues, different issues in my tours. But the thing is that you don't have to think of a problem like an issue or a problem. I mean, you have to see it like a challenge, and you have to see it from the human perspective, because there are people who actually don't want to do my tour. Maybe the wife wants, but the husband doesn't. And the husband is mad at the wife in the beginning, but when they meet me, he is mad at me. So it's kind of like a difficult sometimes to give the change to that. And people think, oh, you will change it with a drink. No. I have to do it before they drink. Because if they drink and they're mad, it can be worse. Okay. So I have very short period of time for changing the mood and making them understand that they are with somebody that they can trust. So I don't know if I answered your question, but
Yeah, I think so. Okay, so would you mind talking a little bit about competition? And I don't mean names, but San Sebastian is a very popular city for food and drink, and
yep,
you're not the only food tour operator in the city.
definitely not.
And there are some that maybe have really sexy marketing, or some that maybe talk the talk, but are they in a similar situation where several years later they're getting a lot of word of mouth too? Or do you see them advertising on Facebook? Or how would you say managing your business compares to how they're managing their business today?
Well, I think my company and the way I want to grow my company is going to continue being very human. Okay, so I will try to make it human all the way if I can. So there is a lot of competition. Trust me when I said that I actually studied business in the university in the US. And when I opened my business, I didn't follow any of the rules that I learned. Okay, so it was all intuition. And the first thing that you actually are supposed to check is who is your competition, right? If I knew, I probably never done this, what I did, because it was scary. After like half a year or so, I realized how many people were doing tours. And it was really amazing, and it was scary, but I was already in the wave, so it was okay. I mean, I could make it, and I saw I was going in the right path. But honestly, it was scary. And if at that time there was a lot of competition, there is a lot more now. There are a lot of aggressive companies in terms of marketing, okay? And I don't have those tools at all. My tool is my client, my customer, the one who talks about me. So, but there are people who actually do very good marketing and they're actually growing. And at one point, I mean, the only thing that it can happen is that I'm not going to be number one in TripAdvisor for long. I'm not worried about that. I'm just worried about continuing doing the work the way I do and reaching to the people's soul and heart the way I do. If I can continue doing that, I'm okay because I'm different definitely from the rest.
Do what you do well and the rest will take care of itself.
Definitely right.
Okay. I am taking notes here. I like that. All right. Here's a question. How do you create trust with a client who is shy?
Well, it's more difficult because, but it's the same way as the rest. I mean, the truth is that it's difficult to see when somebody, like I told you before, that I look at the people expression when they are eating to see if they actually like or not the food. So if there is somebody shy, probably will not have an expression either. So for me, it's more difficult to understand if they like it or not. You have to have more energy. So you give more energy for those who actually don't have the energy. And it's good because sometimes, at the end, you realize that it's worth it. But there are people who are not expressive anyways. And sometimes at the end of the tour, you think, oh my God, maybe I didn't do it right? Because I didn't get that, that connection the way I like the connection, right? And it's amazing because it's funny, but my mom tells me when I finish the tour, how was the tour? And I said, maybe today it was not good. But then they write a TripAdvisor review that is a 5. And it's amazing, the comments. So I think, wow, right? So not everybody has the same way of, expressing their, their way of being and the way of they enjoy life and everything. But I think that the passion that I have when I do what I do, it goes through, farther than what I think. Okay. Actually, I mean, sorry to interrupt, but even the fact that I went to Australia last year, I have so many American first, but a lot of Australians too. And I went there and everybody wanted to meet me. I mean, all my customers want to be with me, to take me everywhere. And there is a point that actually is overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed because you don't understand in 3 hours how much they want to give you with 3 hours that they know you in your town. And they want to take you everywhere, show you everything. And this is a point that you even cry because you think, wow, what's going on here? I didn't do anything for you and you pay me for this. And they always answer the same thing. Esquerna, you don't know what you give us. So I don't know, really. It's true, I don't know. I know I do my 100%.
That's pretty cool. So you land in a new destination as a celebrity and you get a reverse food tour. I like that job.
For free, in this case.
That's great, Escarni. I want your job.
I know, right?
Nice. Okay, here's another question. What is your USP, your unique selling proposition?
My person and I assume is that to find the heart of the people. I mean, if I ever grow as a business with more people, they have to have the same idea of the other one that is in front of them. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
When you say find the heart of the people, what do you mean?
Like you have to find the emotions, the feelings. You have to connect to those that is in front of you. That's the only way of making this the way I do it. So the difficult part now for me is to find people who actually sees the customer the way I do. They don't have to be me. They don't have to, work like me, but they have to have that part developed like I do, or at least I have to teach them how to do it. Because for me, it has to be natural. It cannot be forced. If it's forced, it doesn't work.
So you're looking to expand your business, but your challenge is finding ways to clone yourself.
100%. I hope they're better than me, actually.
Nice. So how do you, here's some more questions coming in. And anyone else, go ahead and put your questions in the chat box here. How do people decide to take your tour?
Well, I said before, like there's so many different ways. If it's not the word of mouth or TripAdvisor or all these things, it can be the hotels. The hotels recommend me a lot. But the best way is by email. I mean, my email works. I try to answer as quick as I can. And I do my bookings. Since I've been alone until now, I did all my bookings that way. And I assume that this year I will start doing things differently, but maybe they can book online, hopefully in a few months. But until now, I did it by email. I mean, it's email booking and WhatsApp booking, Messenger. I
Yeah.
mean, anybody who actually asks me things, I will actually tell them my availability, and we will do that.
And I think you have a really good website, and that's important. I mean, your website is
It's
easy to
gonna
navigate.
change.
It's clear, and you're changing it, are you?
Yeah, I am. I have to change my business now. So yeah, definitely.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Let's see.
But I'm
How
glad to know that you like it.
No, it's a good website. How do you innovate on your tours is the next question.
I think that the only thing that I'm trying to do now is to add other tours that they are not in. So I also think that this business is very like there are so many people doing this, and it will be a point where it will be too many people doing the same thing. So what I'm focusing my future in combining things that they're not just food, they're food with something else. So I'm not going to give you more ideas because then everybody's going to start doing it. But that's what I want. I mean, I'm going in a different line, but always with food because it's my passion. So food will be always involved with it.
Okay. So that kind of ties me into the next question, which was to bring it back to the customer journey, where part of owning a business or developing a product is you take your learnings and you fold them back into the next experience that someone has. And
Right.
it sounds like what you've learned is that you need to diversify your product portfolio and maybe do a little bit more than just food with the product
Right. So, for
pairings.
example, the first 4 years, I didn't increase my prices just to give you an idea. And I used to do two different tours, the walking tour and the pincho tour. So pincho is tapas, as I said before. So pincho tours or walking tours. And I didn't want to increase the price. So I invented the combined one. So I could actually charge more, spending more time, but not more cost. So at the end, you have to find ways of changing your way of growing and your way of doing things that everybody else doesn't do. So now everybody does this too. But when I started, nobody did. So for me, it was a way of doing a change in my business without really people knowing it. If they wanted to do the tour, the pincho tour alone, they could still do it with the same price. And if they want to do the walking, they could have do it at the same price. But the combined one was cheaper. And actually, I was surprised because a lot of people actually started booking it.
Hmm.
So like this one, I can do so many different, not combining, but I can do so many other different ways of creating things. And hopefully it will not be only historical tours with pinchos, but maybe cultural with other type of cultural things
Or maybe
um,
architecture might be work.
or maybe architecture. Thank you for
Yeah.
telling everybody.
No, well, that wasn't,
I'm
we
kidding, I'm
hadn't talked
kidding.
about that. It's just an idea I
Definitely
had.
not, definitely not. Don't
uh,
worry.
no, I think, it's interesting to hear you talk about this because, you are an innovator, and to hear you say how you created these things first and then other people copied you, that's testimony to your being ahead of the curve. And also, uh, I think it helps to justify, your prices are high
Hmm.
and people are willing to pay that. I mean, your
Hmm.
tours sell out, your business grows every year, you get more and more referrals, but your tours are expensive. And I think it's a fantastic testimony to the fact that people are willing to pay that. And even I know that you had a recent price increase and you're still selling your tours well.
Yep,
So that people are
it's
paying for
crazy.
quality and they want Escarni.
Yep, they do. Actually, one day in my life, I will actually create a tour that only Skirny does. It will be even more respect. No, I'm kidding. Well, you never know.
Nice.
No, but I'm very lucky. Actually, I think that there are people who actually think that they're paying high, and they said like I have people that after doing the tour a few years later, they met me again, and they said, well, when we did the tour, it was expensive, but they love me. So I guess it's justified, right? Because they treat me well, like if I was a family member in their house. So at the end, it is expensive. I'm very certain that it's expensive, but my competitors, like the ones that I want to be with, they are those prices too. So I don't understand why I wouldn't be in the same level if I give a lot of quality
Mm.
and I give a lot of passion to it. So if they can be there, I can be there. So that's why I think that it would be expensive, but there are companies that they actually charge the same or more than I do.
Hmm.
So you choose.
Yeah, and it's a lot of times I've seen some of the food tour pricing in other cities, and they can get quite expensive. And you talk to people or you read reviews from those cities, and you're thinking, really, that's all they got for that? And I'm
Exactly
thinking,
right, and that happened to me. But actually, it's funny, Eric. Believe it or not, I was in well, in different trips that I did. I have the experience of spending a lot of money in a tour. Like for example, I pay like maybe 200 and something euros to do rafting, right? That I really didn't like because I thought it was not that exciting in that case.
hmm,
Maybe it was the water that it was not too much water. I don't, but I didn't like it. And it was, for me, it was a lot of money for what I got, right? But then I pay more for climbing the, like hiking or climbing the bridge of Sydney. And it was expensive and I was debating to do it or not. But see, for me, I done it and I'm very happy that I did it, even though I'm scared of heights. But it was one time life thing that I was gonna do being there, right? So it was worth it at the end. But then I did food tours that they were very expensive, that they were very good, and I didn't care. But I did food tours that they were very cheap that I hated. So for me, it's more expensive what I don't like, even though I pay less.
so
You
listening
know,
to you explain that, your best tours were the ones that delivered a real experience.
for me, it's obvious.
Yeah, and that's what we say in food tourism, that people should be selling a memory, not a meal. And I think that's the difference. You sell a memory on your tours. You sell
100%.
full a full 100% white glove experience, as opposed to just taking people from point A to B to C.
Definitely. That's what I
Yeah.
do. And that's what I like to do, actually.
Anyone
Uh,
can do babysitting, anyone can take people from this place to that place, but you offer an experience, and it's kind of like it's a story. You start the story with a chapter one, and you go through the old town in San Sebastian, then you might stop in at the culinary retail store, and then we're going to this other pincho bar, but you should get this pincho there and not this pincho there. And
I change, Eric, my tour every day. You don't under, I start my tour and since I don't know where I'm going because I always, do tailor made with whatever group I am. Sometimes I'm going to a bar that I'm thinking to go there,
mhm.
and San Sebastian. So suddenly I pass by the square of the Constitution Plaza, and I don't have to go inside the Constitution Plaza because I'm going to a bar that doesn't have to go through there. But as I pass the street, I just tell them, come on, guys, I'm sorry. I have to show you something. So then I go to the square, I explain the history of the square, and I continue the tour later. So every day is different. I never do the same tour because some people actually demands more. Some people needs more attention. Some people needs more surprises. So you do whatever you have to do, okay? And also, there is another thing that you have to do with the groups. You always have to give them something touchable to remember forever. It doesn't have to be, and it doesn't have to have any cost for you. You can get it for free, or you can get it from somebody, or whatever. But they always have to keep something.
So you said textual. I just want to make sure everybody heard that. So like a touching experience, because it
Exactly.
it almost sounded like a different word. So
Sorry, I'm sorry. That's my English.
no, no, no. It's the sound quality. No, I think we're good. We're good. There's a very nice comment in the chat window for you, so you might want to have a look at that. And I think that we should probably wrap things up because we need to get ready for our next session. So um,
How can I do that?
well, I'll read it out. It says, I adore you, Escarni Falcon. Thank you for all that you are and all that you do. From the North Shore of Lake Superior here in northwestern Ontario, Canada, thank you
Mm.
for sharing your heart and honesty with us. Ole.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
That
It's
was
nice
very
to know that
nice.
that I can actually inspire somebody to look for people and treat them well. That's the
Yeah.
best thing for us.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say really quickly, the fact that you change your tour every day is actually really clever because it makes it impossible for someone to copy your tour.
It's impossible for me to copy myself. So yeah, definitely true.
Cool. All right, Escarni, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure as always. I can't wait till we get to share pinchos and chacoli again. But thank you for your time today. And
Thank you.
everyone else who's attending the next session, remember that it is a different URL to log into. So check your Excel spreadsheet for the next one, and that will be starting in just about 15 minutes. So thank you, everyone.